Hey everybody, welcome back to the studio today. I hope you're doing well. I'm doing much better than I was yesterday, so thank you for your well wishes. You might be wondering why I'm talking so quiet. Well, I was kind of having a problem talking at normal voice again. Well, just having a problem forming words in full, complete, coherent sentences, so I thought I'd whisper, maybe that would help. So today we're gonna put more logos and handles on social distancing mugs, and so I thought today I'd talk about maybe applying logos to a mug, because I've already done a video on handles. So we'll talk about the stamp that I have for the logos and then how I apply them to the side of the mug, and maybe some tips that I've learned about how to do that. So let's go. All right, everybody, here we go. I've got 2 slabs already slabbed out, and I already started cutting these before. I thought, you know what, I could make a video about applying these logos to a mug and talk about some tips on that. So first I figured I'll just show you how I cut these out. Of course, you guys have probably seen the stamp that I have made, and this was made by Justin's Makery. He has a YouTube channel, as well as he makes custom tools and custom stamps, things like that. He has a pretty interesting YouTube channel about pottery. He does a lot of things that people would never think about doing with pottery, or just in and around pottery, that are pretty neat. So go check his channel out, and it's pretty cool and entertaining. But I also have another somebody that another somebody. Shut up, God. All right, everybody, here we are. I've got my slabs already slabbed out through my slab roller, and I've already started cutting some of these out, and then I thought, you know what, I should make a video today. I did talk about that yesterday in my post, and then I thought, you know what, I could give some tips and tricks on adding these logos to a mug, because there's definitely some things that to-dos and not to-dos when you are adding these logos to a mug. So I thought I'd talk about that. So first we'll just cover cutting these out, which is pretty straightforward. I've got my stamp made by Justin's Makery. If you haven't checked him out yet, go check out his YouTube channel. And he has some really interesting takes on different things within pottery, as well as he makes custom mugs and tools and things like that. I also have my cookie cutter made by Freddie, another guy that follows my YouTube channel. I talked to him, and he 3D printed this cookie cutter for me and sent that to me. I was using just a basic cookie cutter, and this one actually works a little bit better, so thank you, Freddie, for that. Anyway, one of the things I do is when I slab these out, I do use cornstarch baby powder to slab these out so they don't stick to the mats. But then I found out that doing a stamp that's this detailed, like this one is here, that I apply cooking spray to the top, and that allows me, it's just like a vegetable oil cooking spray that I add to the top, and that helps the stamp and the cookie cutter not stick as bad to the top of the clay. Most of the time when I make my ornaments, I just use the cornstarch baby powder, and that works really well. But I found out that doing something so detailed as this stamp, that this cooking spray works a little bit better. You just both of them make a mess. It's just whether you're going to have a cooking spray mess or a baby powder mess. I don't know which is better, but this one seems to work really well with the stamp. So yeah, let's get to cutting some of these out. All right, here we are back in the studio. Gonna talk about the cups for a minute and explain a couple quick tips of things that I do differently making these than my normal mugs to help these survive, adding the logo and the handle and all that kind of thing. Of course, mugs normally get a handle anyways, so mainly the logo. So these, number one, I throw them thicker than I normally throw them. After I throw them, as soon as they start to lose some of the tackiness, I cover them up. So probably sooner than I would normally cover other mugs, I cover these up and I leave them covered for like 3 or 4 days. So I've got a batch here, I've got a batch over here behind the camera, and they were made on 2 separate days, so I was trying to cover them also to get them evened out so I could do the logos all at the same time and the handles all at the same time. But so these are probably a little bit drier than they need to be, but they're still not drying in a sense that they're still kind of leather hard, but they're stiff enough that they're not warping when I go to put the logo or the handle on, and that's what I really want. So I throw them a little bit thicker than normal. I cover them pretty quick after drying. I dry them for 3 or 4 days under plastic so that dryness can even out throughout the whole mug. And then even after I put the logo on and the handle on, I cover them back up so that the dryness of the cup doesn't dry that much faster than the logo, even though I have slip in between the two just to help those kind of even out, because I have had times where the logos pop off after they've been misfired, that kind of thing. And I think that's because of the dryness difference between this and the logo when I put those on. So anyway, I just want to give those quick couple tips, and then we'll hop over here and put a couple logos on and show you that process, and we'll be done at least with this video. So let's get to it. All right, so this is a normal setup for me. Even when I put on handles, I like to do it standing up. I have this rack here that I can adjust the shelves on, so I keep a shelf here at a good working height. I keep my board of handles right down here below it. I've got my board of medallions right here behind me on my wheel. So I've got everything right here close to me that I need. I've got a bowl of water. I've got my paintbrush. This is a paintbrush. I've got my stamp here for doing the button on the bottom of my handles. So I got pretty much everything I need, and I keep a sponge close by because on the back of the medallions, when I slab those out, I did have that cornstarch baby powder on the back side. So I have to wipe that off before I put the slip on. Because if you don't do that, the cornstarch baby powder will do what it's supposed to do, and it will make it release even from the slip. I haven't had that happen before, so don't do that. You need to make sure you clean off that excess cornstarch baby powder if you use that, and then add the slip and then put the medallion on. I have had several questions from you guys before about scoring and slipping. Now, this is one thing that you definitely need to slip. I still don't score them. That has bitten me once or twice, I think, but I think that had more to do with, as I just said, about the dryness of the cup versus the dryness of the medallion. If I continued to have that problem, I definitely would look at scoring either the cup or the back of the logo, or both. But that's just that much more work I have to put in, and chance of messing up the shape of the logo and all those kinds of things that I just don't want to mess with if I don't have to. So these get handled enough as it is, and like I said, these are getting, like I said, they're not dry by any means, but they're not really leather hard in the sense that I could form them or shape them. And that's a good thing, because I don't want to deform this while I'm putting the logo on. So normally what I do is put the logo on first, then I turn it and put the handle on. So, but we'll just show a couple logos here and go through those steps. So like I said here, I got my logos on this board over here. So I normally turn those over, get my sponge wet and clean off some of that excess, like I said, cornstarch baby powder that's on the back. And I guess I wasn't completely ready. I have my my slip here in this bowl that's wrapped up. Let me unwrap that. All right, so I wipe the back side with the sponge. I get a little bit of the slip on my finger, and then just try to put like an even coat of the slip all over the back of the medallion. This is all going to get squished out, so I don't want to put too much, because as I apply this to the side of the cup, I'm just going to kind of start working. Kind of like if you've ever put on a screen protector or anything like that, you kind of start in the center and work your way out and work the bubbles out in a sense. So what I do is just try to line that up, and there's no way of getting this perfectly up and down other than just by eyesight. So I put the logo on there, and I start by just getting the center kind of lined up and also pressed against, and then I just start working my way out from the center, pushing the medallion, pushing the logo up against the cup, and that works out all that excess slip. and then I clean that excess slip off with my paintbrush. Still having trouble saying the word paintbrush. It's a paintbrush. Okay. So then I come back after I've done that, and I will clean that excess slip off with a paintbrush. I usually just brush it on the edge of my bowl there so I can reuse some of that, because then I have to use it for the handles as well as the other medallions. And there's quite a bit usually that gets squished out. I don't want to like do too little slip back there, because I do want it to squish out so that I know that I've got full coverage of the back side of that logo to help it stick all the way around, top, bottom, and both sides. But this paintbrush works really well to smooth out all the sides all the way around, top, bottom, like I said, on both sides there, and I just wrap it around the cup like that. The shape of this cup, the reason I did two different shapes of cup to begin with, and I just settled on this one, mainly because I'm still slightly concerned that that other wider cup, even though it's thrown thicker, is going to warp in the glaze firing. They came through the bisque okay, but if they're going to warp, I've noticed that they warp in the glaze firing. So I settled on this shape because it's not as big around, and it has a little bit of curve to it, which I think helps mitigate some of that warpage as well. So we're going to continue making this shape, and the like 25 or 30 I have of the other shape is about all I'm going to make of that shape. So like I said, I've got my board of handles down here that I've already cut to the length that I need, and then I'm going to put these on, and then we'll get to another medallion. So there's a couple more logos and handles put on, and now I'm gonna shut the camera off, turn on a podcast or some music, and do about another 50 of these, and then I'll be finished, and I'll catch you when I'm done. And we'll, if I have any more thoughts between now and then, I'll make sure I write them down, and we'll cover that at the end. And either way, I'll come back and say goodbye, and we'll finish up the episode. So hope this is helping you guys. Hope you're enjoying it. All right, everybody, I'm finally done with logos and handles. This set here of 24 still don't have the thumb grips on the handles because I just finished the handles on these. And yes, I am wearing a different shirt, and I did shave because the last time you saw me was 24 hours ago. So I didn't get as many of these done yesterday as I thought, and so I went in the house to help put the kids to bed. And then I thought, you know what, I'm not going back out to the workshop. I got everything covered up. It'll be fine until tomorrow. Then today I got up, and I can't remember what happened earlier. Oh, I packed some pots to ship out, and then I made homemade bread. I'm like, I don't know. I mean, I knew these were covered up and they were fine. They weren't going to be too dry. And so I just had other things that I wanted to do today, and so I did that. And so had my first batch of homemade bread I've ever made in my life, artisan bread. I've been wanting to make bread for a long time. So I made my first batch, and I've got a starter for my next batch that I'll be doing in a couple days. So I'm excited about that, and really thrilled also that I got all the logos and all the handles on all these cups And so there's 56 here between these two, and I think I had 88 that came out of the bisque. So now I'm at like over 150, I believe that is. Last time I tried to do math on camera, it wasn't good, but I did get it right for the most part. So anyway, so yeah, so I just thought, like I said, I'd show you guys how I got the medallions or the logos put on the cups and some tips and tricks there. And so at least I hope I remember that I got everything in the video, because by now I don't even remember what I talked about yesterday, and I haven't started editing yet. So I hope all this fits together well, and if it doesn't, you'll just have a jumbled video and you'll get a video. Anyway, I really appreciate all of you. As I always say at the end of my videos, I really do. I appreciate you taking the time to watch the videos. I know you're coming here because you're either entertained or you're learning something, and I'm glad to be able to do that. And like I said, just thank you for being here. Thank you for supporting the channel. Don't forget to like the video, share it, subscribe if you haven't before you go, and hit the thumbs up button, hit the bell so you're notified when I'm doing another video or another live stream. And like I said, you guys are awesome. Thank you so much for being here, and we'll see you in the next video. All right, guys, have a great day. It's wet ground. You like my logging helmet?
No, what is that?
That's just wet ground where the wood was sitting.
Oh.
And the grass is dead. But we got it all. We got it all cut up.
Daddy, what is that wood for?
We're gonna use it to fire the kiln.
Oh.
See, we put that wood, the small strips of wood, in the side of the kiln.
Oh.
And we got those two filled up. Those two bins filled up. Yes.
Daddy, I can hear you a little bit.
And then we got this bin over here filled up, just out of those two bundles. So, lots of wood.
Oh, Daddy.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever.
And then a little bit extra right here.
Daddy.
We made these crates today out of a pallet and then some of the wood.
My pad fell down at someone's.
It's okay.